The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
Celebrate Christmas in July with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get huge savings with $1,776 off a new multi-head ductless system. Visit standardheating.com to discover all the goodies in Santa's bag.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show Backtracks Edition.
But here we are at the home opener, so this is what I've been waiting for. And it brings up a great story. And Randy will be angry. Someone polled 12,000 Americans and asked if they think they could get the ball over the plate during a first pitch situation, first pitch. And
why would I be angry about that?
Because you don't like talking about what happened in Brownton.
I put the ball over the plate.
No, you didn't, Randy.
Yes,
See,
I did.
This is the problem. We have video proof of this, and you still fight me on. Yes, we do.
Bouncing the ball does not count. You have to get it over on the fly.
Oh, so you're saying, Brad, that he never even threw an official first pitch then?
Right.
I agree with that.
You guys are unbelievable.
So again, 12,000 people, Americans, were asked if they could get the sumbitch over the plate if they were asked to do a ceremonial first pitch. A third of us think we could. I know I did. I was there with Randy at that night in Brownton, Minnesota. I know I did. I even put a little too much mustard on the sumbitch. Catcher was shaking his left hand. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Randy skipped it.
I did not skip
and you
it.
still... see, this is where
your memory of that night is just amazing.
We have video proof of it hopping before it got to first, home plate. The ball players from Brownton sold you out years ago on this. They sent me cell phone video. But they're shady in Brownton.
They are shady in Brownton.
Not on this subject, but they are shady. Brad, you ever done a first pitch?
No.
Ceremonial?
I was a pitcher, but I've never done a ceremonial.
Yeah, we know you were a pitcher.
Yeah, we
No,
know.
actually, you know what? I did one.
You did?
Yes, I did one. Yeah.
Where were you?
I was in Wilmer, Minnesota. Back when I worked for the Twins, they had Twins representatives go out to represent the organization at the Fields for Kids events that they had that summer, and I went out to Wilmer because I grew up in that area of the state. And they had me throw a first pitch before the Wilmer Stingers game.
Did you put some stank on it?
Yeah.
You did?
Uh-huh.
Made it over the plate?
And then when I got back to the dugout, the manager asked me if I wanted a uniform.
So you could wash it for
Custodial
him?
uniform?
So you can
wash it for him?
Randy,
what are you guys doing in 2 weeks? You guys can come out to the Egan High School baseball home opener, and I'll hook you up for the first pitch.
I would love that. Really?
You got that power?
Really? Can you get Randy and all of us?
I'm not promising, but I'll see what I can do.
Randy can show his effing noodle arm off again to the crowd?
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Noodle arm.
If I look into it, would you guys come?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, that'd be great. Is it going to be on a Saturday or a Sunday?
No, it'll be like a Thursday.
Oh, that sucks. We work on Thursdays.
Can we bring pool noodles and bang them together when Randy's pitching?
Noodle arm, noodle arm. The crowd's going nuts. Crowd's going nuts. Everyone's hollering noodle arm.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw out an inflatable trash can just to bring that bit to.
Well, and Josh could just walk down the street and come.
Oh, it's too far. That's a long walk.
Keep us posted on this, Brad Ryder. That might be something we can
I'll look into it.
fit into our schedule.
That is right by my house.
Yeah.
Right by Cubby House.
Sleepover at Josh's.
Let's do it.
We got some information now on what that Tiger Woods was up to when he got in that effing car crash. Well, we got a little bit of information. Word is he was driving 40 miles per hour over the speed limit. He was going near 90 in a 45.
The event data recorder showed speeds ranged from 82.02 miles per hour to 86.99 miles per hour. We did not check his phone for texting, and there was really no need to do that. There was no other evidence. The only associated factor is the speed and the failing to maintain the curvature of the roadway. That's it. There's nothing from the cell phone to indicate any type of distracted driving.
Is that the cops?
Yeah.
I mean, I certainly hope the guy recovers and he's able to go play golf again, but what the hell are you doing going near 90 in a 45?
It's believed that your initial thought is to hit the brake, and it's believed that he may have done that but hit the accelerator and didn't hit the brake. We don't know that. He doesn't have any recollection of the incident, and like I said, that's a speculation. There is zero braking throughout that recording of the data recorder, and it's 99% acceleration on the pedal.
He was on the gas the whole time.
Oh, my God.
What the hell really happened here?
I know, there's something they're not saying. Because even after you make that mistake, you hit the gas instead of the brake, wouldn't you immediately go to the brake?
Dude!
Yeah, you would notice right away.
Was it a code brown?
He fell asleep.
There's something they're not saying.
But before that, was it a code brown?
It could have been. Well, he was running late.
What is a code brown?
A code brown? Oh, you got to know what a code brown
Come
is.
you tell them what a code brown
You got
is.
to find a bathroom right away?
Yes.
Is that a code brown?
Emergency. And cops should allow that as an excuse. They need to legislate this.
It's a code brown.
If you can prove a legitimate number 2 episode.
I have never heard that before.
Well, I mentioned before we need to have a brown light we can just flip on the car.
Right.
And you get a police escort to the nearest porta potty.
I believe that I am the Hennepin County all-time leader in code browns.
You know what? I'm not going to. There's no way somebody could beat you on that. At least the old you.
When I was a young man, I was the Richard Petty of code browns. It was a terrible way to make a living.
It's just crazy.
So yeah, like Josh said, there's something. There's always been something else going on with this.
There is something
we
else.
all got that vibe right away, didn't we?
Yeah,
We did,
of course.
Yes.
He's playing with his phone or something. Who knows? But he was still
Playing
going.
with something.
Oh,
He smacked into a tree, and they say he was still going balls out when he smacked into a tree. I don't effing know. But I suppose we should just let it go. You know, luckily no one died.
Brad? What do you think?
I think he fell asleep.
Fell asleep.
Yeah.
Does he have what's that condition?
Well, it was
Narcolepsy?
early in the morning.
Narcolepsy.
and- yeah.
It was early in the.
Necrophilia.
See, now I that's why I asked, because I get those two mixed up.
Do you really?
Yes, I
I
do.
think he was running late. He was on a bad road with curves, and he fell asleep. That's my theory.
Right. But yeah, like it says here, I found this tree information. He was still going 75 miles per hour when he collided with a tree on the other side of the roadway, more than 100 yards away from where he first lost control.
How is that possible that you'd be asleep at that point? I just don't know how.
something's
Well, he
going
woke
on
up.
here.
He woke up at that point.
He
Well-
woke up at that point.
I just.
It's just the whole thing
There's
is
a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense.
right. I don't know, man. I got a decent Code Brown story about one of my high school buddies. I could tell you Code Brown stories all day long, but this one is maybe it sticks out of my memory because I was so sympathetic because I was that guy 9 times out of 10. But I'm driving over to one of my old high school buddies' houses. We were either still in high school or just out, and I see his mother walking. His mother was taking a walk. So I stopped and said, hello, how are you? I'm on my way over to your house right now going to see your son. And she said, he's not home right now. Oh, he's not. Okay, well, tell him I stopped by. And right when we're wrapping up our conversation, I see my buddy behind me in his motor vehicle, and he's going real fast down that neighborhood road. And I said, here he is right here. And I figured he's going to stop and we'll talk a little bit or whatever. He's coming at us like a bat out of hell. And as he whips by me and his mother, he's got his head out the window and he just says this, "Bathroom!" So I said, well, I'll give you 10 minutes.
Thus the need for a siren.
Right.
Yeah, we got to have that.
The
They should
light,
put
like
that
Josh said, the brown light and some kind of a noisemaker. I don't know what it would sound like. I can't in a million years guess what the siren might.
Maybe just something like that.
That's what it sounds like.
And the police get on their walkie-talkies and understand that
Code Brown.
Yeah. You need an escort. Got one listener texted in and said he's had 3 Code Browns this week.
Big week. It's only Thursday.
That's a lot of Code Browns.
Neck like a stack of dimes, arms like buggy whips. Jesus had a Code Brown end up in the back of his work boots when he was walking up a set of stairs.
Oh, no.
That's a liquid Code Brown. Those are different.
There's another
The liquid Code Browns are different.
There's another long story here. Maybe all you need to know is at the beginning of the story involves one of our listeners and his wife at an all-you-can-eat crab joint.
Oh.
I don't know if he...
Oh, no.
The half-assed morning show backtracks.
Have any of you ever been big Saturday Night Live fans?
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Back in the day.
I still watch it. I certainly was a bigger fan in the olden days.
Yeah,
but I do still watch it every Saturday, just in case there's something for the show.
Wapple, what's your version of back in the day?
I would say like when Will Ferrell and stuff was on there.
Okay, I don't know when that was. Late 90s then? Late 90s,
Yeah,
right?
somewhere around there.
I've seen the show like twice, maybe.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So, but have you seen a lot of the bits like on YouTube?
No.
And when Chris Farley was on there too.
Okay, mid-90s to late 90s.
Yep. I love the lunch lady bit.
I don't know the lunch lady bit.
Lunch lady land.
Yeah.
I've heard people say lunch lady.
Hoagies and grinders, navy beans.
Who did that? Who was the...
Sandler and Farley was floating around as the lunch lady.
That sounds like something Sandler would do.
I don't remember that one.
No, I've heard it said out loud. Yeah, for me personally, I was big into the Blues Brothers as a young guy, so I loved that bit. And then I've never been really huge on Saturday Night Live, but there was a stretch of time in the early 80s when I never missed it because of people like Eddie Murphy and things like that. Josh was just saying yesterday that the show wrapped up its 47th year or something like that. I mean, would that be the right math? They started in 75, and some cast members are moving on. I don't know who they are because I don't watch the show. I know you said it yesterday, Josh. I apologize, but...
Pete Davidson, Kyle Moody, A.D. Bryant, and
Kate McKinnon.
Ranker had their subscribers vote for the best cast members of all time, and it looks like they've carved out a top 15 top cast members in the history of Saturday Night Live, and they start with Dinkus. Someone just said his name a minute ago, Adam Sandler. They start with Adam Sandler as the 15th best.
He had a good run on that show, early 90s.
Love Adam Sandler.
Can't stand the sight of him.
He's got his moments for sure.
From 90 to 95, Adam Sandler. At number 14, they go with Kristen Wiig.
Very funny.
Who has more talent in the tip of her pinky than 100 Adam Sandlers. Kristen Wiig was on that show for 7-8 years, 2005 to 2012. I really like her style. She's very, very funny. 13. Amy Poehler.
Yeah, she's great.
I don't have a problem with Amy Poehler, but there's a glaring omission on this list that I would have at least put there.
There's a few, Josh, because once I roll through the top 15 here, according to the folks who dial into ranker.com, I'm going to roll through some, my God, 47 years now, there have been so many people who have come and gone, some of them very quickly, but there have been so many cast members that I think really deserve a little more credit. I'm with you. I'm looking forward to hearing the grand omission that you were just
there's quite a few.
Yeah.
There's one that came to mind right away, and the more I thought about it, there's actually plenty that should have been higher up. But I know I think Ranker works where it's their readers vote.
Yeah, you can
right?
vote
Isn't
people
that how
up
it
and
goes?
down, yep.
Amy Poehler, number 13. Number 12, Bill Hader. Folks love Bill Hader, right?
Yeah,
he's good.
Just heard him on Conan's podcast.
Yep.
Been loving the new season of Barry, that show where he plays the hitman.
I just started it.
It's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
It takes a while to get used to seeing Bill Hader run around as a precision killer because you're used to him just being the goofball that's cracking up on Saturday Night Live. But you can tell he put the training in. He looks legit with the guns in his hands.
Yep.
So it's not comedic in any form?
It's funny, like in a dark way.
Oh, dark comedy.
Oh, I like that.
All right. Well, I love dark comedies. Bill Hader, very funny guy. He was on the show for 6-7 years, 2005 to 2013. Number 11, Gilda Radner, who died very young, and I can't remember what killed Gilda Radner. She was one of the original cast members, 1975 to 1980. The one character I remember from Gilda Radner was Rosanna Dana. You recall that one, Josh?
Very funny.
It's like ovarian cancer, age of 42.
Ah, for Pete's sake.
That's not funny.
Too young.
No. Number 10, Dana Carvey.
Yeah, president of the Male Dana Club.
He's the big guy?
Yeah, he's the big cheese. Yep.
Where does Dana White fall on that list?
Very far down the list. I don't care for that guy too much. we stopped inviting him to the meetings.
What about Dana Plato?
Ooh.
Oh, God, you're going to be mad at me because I don't know who that is.
That is...
Kick him in the wiener.
One wiener kick.
One of Cubby's first crushes, Dana Carvey. Dana Plato? I lost it.
I think it's Plato.
Plato, yeah. I don't know why I wanted to call her Dana Pluto. She played Kimberly on the hit sitcom Different Strokes.
Okay, I just looked her up.
Dana Carvey was never really my style. He was on the show for from 86 to 93, but I get it. Number 9, his partner in the, what was their combo again?
Wayne and Garth?
Wayne and Garth. We got Mike Myers at number 9. Had some great stuff on Saturday Night Live, Mike Myers.
Oh, I like him.
8 is John Belushi, an original cast member. He was on the show from 75 to 79 and died very young and horribly from drugs. I'm not trying to start trouble, but I never was all that crazy about John Belushi. And I'll get back to you on that. Number 17, Tina Fey.
I
She's
love
awesome.
her.
Legend.
Gosh, we were just talking about her.
Yeah, one of the funniest people around.
So good.
6, another guy who checked out awful young, although I believe my memory serves me, he was murdered, Phil Hartman.
Yep. Very, very funny guy.
I am Minnesotan.
Oh.
Sadly enough.
Gosh. Bad Minnesota.
He was on the show from 86 to 94, and the man was just terrific. His delivery was perfect, and he was great at playing deadpan type characters, Phil Hartman. 5, Dan Aykroyd from 75 to 79. And here's where I'll go back to the Belushi thing. For me personally, aside from Elwood Blues, I can't say that Dan Aykroyd really ever thrilled me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen old clips from him and stuff. Like the one that I always think of is when he was like a TV pitchman selling the Bassmatic 76.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Josh, your thoughts?
Yeah, I liked him enough.
I just never thought that he was the kind of guy that could really just stand on his own. Again, I'm the biggest Blues Brothers fan you'll ever meet. Belushi and Aykroyd together as the Blues Brothers were effing genius. Absolute genius. It's just beyond that, I really can't say that. 4 is Eddie Murphy from 80 to 84. And Eddie Murphy was, when he was young, it was just unbelievable. My favorite character being Mr. Robinson from Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood back in those days. 3, he wasn't on the show long, and during those years, he was more or less a kind of a second character. I don't know the term, you know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't.
The sketches didn't always revolve around him. He was kind of a secondary player in a lot
that
of
would
the
be
bits.
Bill Murrah.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Murrah, number 3.
I think he's that high on the list just because everything he's done since then. If we were talking just Saturday Night Live accomplishments, I don't think Bill Murray, as you call him, would be that high. Just because he was very short. He wasn't there for very long.
Very, very funny. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Bill Murray is one of the funny. 2 is Will Ferrell.
Mm-hmm.
He had some great stuff on Saturday Night Live. And number 1, they're going with Farley, who was wildly funny on that show.
Yeah, I can't argue with that one.
Mm-hmm.
So what cast member from the history of Saturday Night Live, Josh, who was the first one that came to mind that you thought, damn, they deserved a little bit better on that ranker list?
Well, 2, the first one that came to mind, mostly because he recently passed, Norm Macdonald.
Oh, yeah.
I think should have been on. And Chevy Chase, who's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, that's the thing. Chevy Chase was the star of the first season of Saturday Night Live. I don't think there was any question about that. But was he only on 1 or 2 seasons?
2 years.
It was just a couple.
Yeah, he didn't stick around long.
John Lovitz.
Oh, my God.
Kevin Nealon. David Spade.
Yeah, Spade was good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, was Martin Short was on Saturday Night Live, right?
Oh, my damn. Yes. Now, I never was a big Nealon guy, but if you listen to this program, you know Josh and I, John Lovitz, we don't need the man to say a word. John Lovitz. Martin Short was so incredibly funny on that show. He simply is one of the funniest men that have ever lived. Martin Short is an effing genius.
I mean, Kevin Nealon's Mr. Subliminal. That bit was genius. Speaking of genius, I loved that bit.
What was Ed Grimley? Do you remember the character Ed Grimley that Martin Short portrayed on Saturday Night? Anybody?
Barely.
Oh, my God. I used to imitate that as a child. I loved Ed Grimley. He talked like this, and he said things like, I must say, if you're old enough to remember, you know what I'm talking about. I'm just going to roll through some of the other names. Jim Brewer. Now, I've never really dug his style, but everyone was crazy about Jim Brewer for a while on Saturday Night Live.
Yep.
I'm with you on that one. Yeah, he wasn't one of my, but he definitely had his moments, that's for sure.
Here's one that, I just think too much time has passed for some of these names to be remembered. And I'm just going to imagine that the majority of people who are on Ranker are a little younger.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong because they did throw names like Gilda Radner and things like that into their top 15. Maybe I'm wrong. But Billy Crystal was incredible on Saturday Night Live for a couple years. Billy Crystal's characters.
God, I guess I never realized he was on there.
Oh, my damn. You look marvelous. Remember that one, Josh?
Love that one.
And I think his best bit on Saturday Night Live, and again, if you're a little younger, you'll have no idea what I'm talking about. I think it was he and Christopher Guest, who, part of Spinal Tap, Christopher Guest, and he was in, what was the dog show movie, Best in Show?
Oh,
and
yeah. Uh-huh.
Christopher Guest is lights out funny. He and Billy Crystal played the bumbling apartment repairman duo, Josh, where, and it wasn't about what they did, they would have these conversations where Billy Crystal would say, when you're you're sawing at the webbing between your toes with an X-Acto knife, and then you pour some Tabasco sauce on top of it? I hate when that happens.
Yep, I know what you mean.
And then the other guy would say, it's like the other day I took one of those, and Billy Crystal would say, staplers? And he'd say, yeah, and I just started stapling my eyelids shut. I hate when that happens. If we can find some audio on that, that was... Jane Curtin was great as a straight character. Jane Curtin.
People are texting in Steve Martin. Now, he was never on the show as a cast member, was he?
No, he was
just,
not.
No.
Like a special guest and a host.
He's hosted like 15 times, damn.
Steve Martin was never a cast member. But I'm just going to bomb through some of these names, and some of them didn't last long. And some of them, they didn't last long for good reason. It just didn't work. One of them would be Robert Downey Jr., who now is one of the biggest effing stars in the world. Chris Elliott.
I love Chris Elliott.
Is a genius.
I forgot he was on there.
It didn't last long, I don't think, for Chris Elliott. Maybe 1 year.
I was just quoting some Chris Elliott a couple days ago from Cabin Boy.
Oh, God, Cabin Boy.
That is so underrated. Although I wonder if I watch it now if I would think it was terrible. At the time, I really enjoyed it.
What was his sitcom where he lived with his parents?
Something Life.
Yeah, Get a Life.
Was that it?
Effing Chris Elliott. Okay, Jimmy Fallon was on that show forever, was he not?
He was, yeah.
Was he just not that memorable, or what would you say? I never watched Jimmy Fallon on.
God, his bit with Sean Hayes, the Jeffries, or whatever it was.
I don't know that one.
They run an uptight store, and they tell everyone to get out of the store, and then Will Ferrell comes in with his small phone.
Okay,
I don't remember that.
Oh, it's so funny.
I think he was pretty polarizing on that show because he would break constantly. You mean he would start laughing during he couldn't contain himself.
Right. That makes sense.
Some people found that really endearing and kind of charming. Other people found it very, very annoying. That's
funny. That's the same thing with Kenan Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I love Kenan Thompson, but people criticize him because he can't hold back his laugh. I think it's funny that the guy can't.
I think it's more accepted. I remember, I can't remember who I was listening to. Somebody from one of the casts had talked about how Lorne Michaels hated it.
Right, he would just freak out because he thought you were trying to draw more attention to yourself and you're taking away from the bit.
And then Jimmy Fallon kind of, I guess, loosened up that take. But yeah, he was by far the worst offender as far as that goes. I mean, he wouldn't just kind of crack a smile. He'd be crying. He'd be dying.
That's what he did in the Jeffries bit a lot.
Yeah, he could not keep it together.
Yeah.
More SNL characters. Will Forte. Don't you love him, Dana?
Yeah, I love Will Forte. Very funny guy.
Al Franken. Of course, Stuart Smalley is one of my favorite characers ever.
Tracy Morgan is coming in via text. He was funny.
Tracy Morgan was so funny, and I like I said, I only sporadically visited Saturday Night Live. since the mid-'80s. Just once in a while, I'd run into a little bit of this or that. One of my favorite bits of all time, Tracy Morgan is living under a manhole. He's living under the street, and Britney Spears visits him in his little manhole house. Anyone follow that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, and he sings some song about a doo-doo pie? Oh, God. I think he ate a doo-doo pie. He was singing about eating a Gilbert Gottfried, the recently passed Gilbert Gottfried, he was not a regular, he was like a bit character, but I mentioned Christopher Guest. Anthony Michael Hall didn't last long. Here's a guy who I think is very well thought of amongst comedians and comedy actors, Daryl Hammond.
Yeah, he was great.
Colin, is it Jost?
Jost, yeah, he's funny. He and Michael Che. Those guys, when they write jokes for each other,
it's the best.
It's awesome, but so uncomfortable.
So cringy.
Colin gets it the worst by far.
He's been on the show for a long time, this guy.
Yeah, I think he's the head writer right now, too.
Oh, really?
And he's married to what's-her-nuts?
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, Scarlett.
Oh, that's got to be a total nightmare.
And he owns the most punchable face of all time.
He's a good-looking dude. I hear what you're saying, because he looks like a frat boy.
He does. He's got a very frat boyish vibe to him.
And he gets crap for that a lot.
Yeah, he owns it, too. Like, he brings it up himself.
This is an acquired taste, and I'm just throwing these names out there. I'm not saying that I was one way or the other. Chris Kattan was on the show for a long time. Had some decent stuff.
You know, plenty of texts are coming in with his name.
Seth Meyers, doesn't he host a show now?
Yep.
After Fallon.
Dennis Miller? Although I could never really get into Dennis Miller, but I mean,
I liked him on Saturday Night Live enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of after that.
Right.
I wasn't as much of a fan of what he was doing.
His news, he was the anchor on the Saturday Night Live news. I mean, that was where he found his groove. Joe Piscopo wasn't. I mean, he gets made fun of a lot, and he has been made fun of a lot for years. But his Frank Sinatra bit was unbelievable there in the 80s. Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was on the list. Maybe I just assumed he would be.
No, not on the top 15.
Should have been.
Another guy, I'm not familiar with much of his stuff, but I thought he just hit it out of the park when he was on Saturday Night Live, this Andy Samberg guy.
Yeah. Especially their, like those, what's the name of the group? Yeah, Lonely Island bits. Just yesterday, my wife and I were joking about D in the Box.
Yeah.
That's such a good bit.
I got to see those guys in concert when they played the Armory a few years back, and that was one of the funniest, best concerts I've ever been to in my life.
And I know,
just hilarious.
Dana, you love Cecily Strong.
Oh yeah, she's my girlfriend. She doesn't know that though. Yeah, she should be at least in the top 30, I would imagine. She's very funny.
And there's one more that I thought was interesting that it didn't get more votes, but there's so many people to choose from, and the top 15 that we read from Ranker, you can't really argue too much with most on the list, with the exception of Sandler, of course. This gal I've always found to be so funny, and that's Molly Shannon.
Yeah, she's great.
Man, was she fun. She's still funny.
She was also recently on the oh my God, Conan O'Brien podcast. There's another, it's killing me that I can't remember her name, another very popular female, Maya Rudolph. Yeah, Maya Rudolph.
I had this one name I jotted down when we started talking about
really?
this.
Okay.
Yeah, she's great.
Mm-hmm.
But you got Native Restoration Jesus is texted in, and he says, all you got to do is say John Lovitz, and I crack up laughing.
Yeah, because you could picture his face.
Can't forget about Bill Hader. We didn't forget about Bill Hader. We mentioned him. He didn't make, he was in the top 15.
Yep.
Something about this and that. Eat a doo-doo pie. Tracy Morgan sang to Britney Spears.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Are you ready to beat the heat this summer? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is here to help you say goodbye to sweltering heat and hello to ultimate comfort. Ashley, what specials do they have going on this month?
Celebrate Christmas in July with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get huge savings with $1,776 off a new multi-head ductless system. Visit standardheating.com to discover all the goodies in Santa's bag.
This episode brought to you by Progressive. Whether you're driving, cooking, or doing laundry, Progressive knows the podcasts you listen to go best when they're bundled with another activity. Much like how their Progressive home and auto policies go best when they're bundled. Having these two policies together makes taking care of your insurance easier and could help you save too. Customers who save by switching their home and car insurance to Progressive save over $775 on average. That's a whole lot of savings and protection for your favorite podcast listening activities, like going on a road trip, cooking dinner, and even hitting the home gym. Yep, your home and your car are even easier to protect when you bundle your insurance together. Find your perfect combo. Get a home and car insurance quote at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $779 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2022 and May 2023. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Half-assed morning show. 93X.
Got a couple of stories here for you, basketball related. Brad Ryder, you might know this one. Maybe you were here. Maybe you were there, I should say. Maybe you were there for this, but maybe the timing, I don't remember. When did you get gassed?
Boy, it's going on 3 years now.
Is it 3 years this summer?
Yeah.
So maybe
this summer, yeah.
Were you there January of 2020?
I was not, but I know where you're going with the story. I heard about it yesterday.
It ended up in
Michael Rand's write-up in the paper today?
I'll give you my opinion once you set it out.
Okay. I don't remember who wrote it, but it ended up in the Star Trib.
Yeah, it's Michael Rand, I think.
Okay.
It was off an ESPN story by Zach Lowe, I believe.
I'll go along with it.
Yeah.
I'll go along with it. The story I saw in the Star Tribune, it's about Standrew Wiggins having success with the Golden State Warriors, blah, 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 blah. You've heard that stuff a million times. What happened? Here with the Wolves, he only did this, but now with the Golden State, I'm tired of the topic. Right. But the story is apparently former Wolves coach Ryan Saunders once screamed at Andrew Wiggins so much at halftime of a game in January 2020. This was right before Wiggins was traded. There was some concern that Ryan might be having cardiac issues.
Oh, my.
That's how hard he was screaming at Andrew Wiggins.
That seems so out of character for him, too.
But it was determined that Ryan had pulled a muscle in his chest.
Wow.
During the conference? Okay, wow.
So you know the story, Brad.
I do.
Is it true?
Well, here's what I will say. Tom Thibodeau is not the only NBA head coach who yells and screams at players. Breaking news. Okay, sure. They all do. They all do. They don't all make a spectacle of it.
You know, you're very defensive of
Tibbs.
Tibbs.
I wanted to use him as an example in the story, though. That even the most mild-mannered coaches, you would think, that display what they display on the sidelines. When you get them in the locker room, and if somebody's out of line, they'll go after somebody, and I've seen it time and time again.
Sure.
Steve Kerr, who I think we all would agree is probably right now the best coach in the NBA. He had to take time away a couple of years ago because he had heart issues. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. And so my point is that all these guys have such huge amounts of stress in their jobs, and I've seen, I've seen almost every coach you can name that I worked with or I was with. Behind the scenes, they'll get after guys and they'll yell at guys. So this story didn't really surprise me a lot.
That's certainly all part of the job. There's no doubt. Yeah. I just look at Ryan and I just don't. Man, that just to me seems out of character for him. But
well, and the other part of this to me that I wanted to bring up too is if anybody wants to make something out of the fact that Ryan and Wiggins didn't get along, that's not true either.
Yeah, right.
I'm obviously close friends with Ryan, so I was at his wedding. Andrew was at his wedding. Andrew and he are very tight, and Ryan actually told me this spring that Andrew, and this was before this story even came up, that Andrew's one of the people he keeps in closest touch with even now.
Sure. Okay,
sure.
So
I didn't read the story and determine that the two of them must have hated each other. Of course, of course. And coaches are going to yell at players, and then they can still remain friends afterwards.
I think most coaches actually will tell you the players that they're the closest to are the ones that they feel most comfortable yelling at and getting after because they take it the right way.
I just think it's funny that, and it must have been very frightening for Ryan or the staff when they see him maybe clutching his chest.
Kind of like Fred Sanford.
Yes.
And, Sanford's Elizabeth.
I'm coming, Elizabeth. That must have been frightening. Has anyone on the staff on the show here ever yelled at someone with so much fervor that you hurt yourself?
No.
I'd say Ashley would be the most likely candidate.
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
Oh,
I don't know. I've never seen Ashley. Ashley's more intimidating just as she is. I've never seen you yell at someone.
It's not pretty.
You have yelled at people.
Yeah, it's not good.
I've certainly had that moment where I had to, I better sit down here for a minute. You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, they thought maybe, and when Ryan was coaching a couple years ago, what was he, 37, 36?
Young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, holy balls, we got the young coach here having a heart attack? Mm-hmm. No, he was all right. He pulled a muscle in his chest screaming at Andrew Wiggins. God, I wish I had audio of that.
Early in my career, I worked with Gopher basketball, and I was around Clem Haskins. Oh, boy, I got a few stories for that from that guy, too. Oh, boy.
There were a couple times where I thought Clem was going to pass out on the court.
Well, you should have seen him in private then at practice.
Well, I'm just saying, I'm thinking, too, Nick, there's times where Clem could easily pull a chest muscle, try to rip his coat off.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Clem was amazing on the sidelines as to how fast and how furious he could take his coat off when a call did not go his way on the sidelines. And then throw it too.
Yes, if you're a younger person and you never saw Clem Haskin coach the Golden Gopher basketball team and some of these little temper tantrums that we're talking about, maybe you can find video on YouTube. But what I loved Golden Gopher basketball. I always haven't, but that was such a great time period.
It really was
so exciting. But if you don't know, then you won't get this. But when Clem would get real mad, first off, like Randy was saying, he would be furious at his coat. Who put this here? What's this doing on me?
Who put this on me?
Yes. And so he would get so mad. But if you remember, he also, the facial expression was that he was going to cry. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So it looked like a grown man having a tantrum at his coat, and he was also going to cry for us.
And it was also, usually it was one of those coats that was that 3-button coat that comes across the chest.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't as easy as just taking it off. There was a little bit to it as well.
God.
You guys should have seen him get after people at practice in private.
I'll bet.
Oh my gosh!
I'll bet.
I mean, some of those old Gophers when they get together. I mean, if you ever talk to any of those guys, Randy, ask them about some of those stories. Oh, he struck the fear of God in those guys.
And remember, he comes from a time when he played in the NBA for like the Phoenix Suns and the other teams. I mean, he played for some fiery people too.
Yes.
I mean, he comes from that old school era of, I mean, George Stoll, the legendary football coach at Stillwater, used to always tell me, when did yelling become a bad thing? Yelling is one of those things. He goes, anybody who ever cared about me as a player, as a person, yelled at me because that was the way to show urgency,
passion,
and that's
urgency.
A good way. That's a good way to tie in that Ryan Saunders, Andrew Wiggins story.
Exactly,
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Here's a listener that says when he used to play sports as a kid, you want to talk about intense? He said he would get so mad his nose would start to bleed.
Whoa! Wow, that's kind of cool.
And the listener says, there were games I didn't think Clem Haskins would have any clothes on by the end of it.
Yeah, when the tie would come off, that was the best.
The tie, he hated his clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
The poor refereeing would cause him to turn on his own clothing.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
And again, that crybaby face was the best part of it. Now, I told you I had a couple of basketball stories. So we covered the Ryan Saunders thing. Now, this is just a rumor that was texted to me by a listener. I didn't look into it at all. I did no research on it. I didn't really have time to. A listener says, this is under the bleachers, Jesus. He said there are theories online. Maybe this is old news. I don't know. You guys tell me. There are theories online that Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's child.
Oh, I've heard this one for years.
Okay, you have.
Yeah. I've heard that one since he came to Minnesota 7-8 years ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you know about it? Is he Michael Jordan's child?
It's a rumor. I don't know that it's ever been.
That's hilarious.
Proven by anyone, obviously.
Well, how old is Mike Jordan now? Prick.
60.
And Jimmy Butler's?
30-some.
Michael Jordan's 59.
And Jimmy's, what, 35 or something?
32. No, he's like 33, 32, yeah.
Guess it's possible.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, he got a listener here who heard himself once screaming for water.
I don't think he's recovered.
I hadn't heard that one yet, that Jimmy Butler's is...
Yeah, that's new to me.
Oh, I'm running with this for sure. I don't need any evidence. I'm just going with it.
Jim 365 Jesus once yelled so hard playing hockey that he blew blood vessels in both of his eyes.
Oh,
He had blood in his eyes for months, he said.
Yeah, the Terminator eyes, the red eyes.
I flipped out pretty badly now and again. Yeah. I never started bleeding out of anything.
You'll find some interesting stuff on that if you Google that. If you Google Jimmy Butler, Michael Jordan's son, I mean, you'll see people that try to, put the online or pictures side by side.
Oh, they break it down.
Yeah, because he obviously, Jimmy had a mother, but his father was never present, and so that's why they are trying to do that.
My old man, always been a pretty even-tempered guy. We only made him blow his stack a couple times. My mom was the one who would blow her stack. My dad, pretty low-key. But one night we pissed him off so bad. We were, in our early, I should say our late teens and drinking and carrying on. And the old man, I don't know what we did, but he finally had enough of us. My brother and I and a couple of buddies were hanging out at his house, raising hell, and he finally had enough of us. And I don't know, maybe you had to be there, but he comes racing down the stairs to chew us out. And we had a dartboard. The basement wasn't finished, so we didn't have the dartboard, like concrete screwed into the wall. We had the dartboard kind of hanging from the ceiling.
Okay.
And the old man comes downstairs, "You sons of bitches!" and he smashed his face into the dartboard.
Oh, no.
And about knocked him out cold. So now he's pissed, and we're laughing at him.
Oh, no.
So my father was, when he would get angry, my father had cataplexy, which is a symptom in which when you get super angry, like when he was going to spank us, he would get weak in the knees. He would, look almost like he was going to fall.
Really?
He never did, but you could always tell when he was super angry because when he was coming to, maybe spank you, all of a sudden it's like he got wobbly. And so my brother and I always knew we had that little moment of escape possibility.
That's when you run.
Exactly. When we knew that he was going to be to the point where he might, we got spanked a few times, but we always knew there was that time you had a chance to get out of there if you wanted to.
I've never heard of that before.
I never took advantage of it. I took my medicine if I was going to have it, but I always knew in the back of my head, I always had that thought, now's the time if you're going to go.
You said it's called cataplexy?
Cataplexy, Cataplexy. My dad had that where he would get, if he got super emotional or very angry, he would get weak in the knees. He would almost, fall.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So, he would not make a good coach, let's put it that way. Wow. Or an angry coach, I guess, would be maybe a better way to put that.
So you had a moment there where you could get the F out.
Yeah, my brother and I used to always kind of, know in the back of our minds.
He's getting wobbly, run.
Yep. If that's your chance.
That's your chance. We got our windows open.
Now, Cubby, you always talk about how your old man ran a little hot. Do you have any? Do you have any real serious highlight where it was just he flipped out so bad it was just hilarious?
Well, so he, like you said, he flipped out a lot. He had probably the worst temper of anybody I've ever seen. But when he would, road rage situations.
Which is so crazy, Josh, because you were so even-tempered.
Well, I think that's probably why.
Why, right?
I remember my mom pulling me aside. And my dad was an amazing guy. He really was. But he had this temper that was tough for him to control.
Well, he was up against a lot of BS, as you've explained before.
As the older I got, the more I realized and thought, geez, he kept it cool compared to what he was dealing with.
Right.
But my mom did pull me aside in maybe third grade and said, listen, you have to control your temper. You can't act like your father. You just can't act like that. He's going to get in some trouble one of these days. But one thing my dad, it would kind of crack me up, but I could never laugh because then he'd come after me. In a driving situation, if he was going to honk the horn, there was this big buildup. He'd tense, he'd kind of raise his hands off the steering wheel and then hit that with everything he had. So as soon as I was afraid, once airbags started coming around, I'd be like, Dad, if you hit that as hard as you can, your face is going to explode and we're going to drive off a cliff.
Oh, my gosh.
Here's a listener saying, you knew it was serious at my house when my dad would come in to yell at us in his underwear in the middle of the night.
Oh, yeah, that's so true.
Oh, if you're at like a friend's house having a sleepover or something, or you're goofing off, and their dad comes down in his undies to scream at you. Oh man.
Oh, that is a terrifying feeling, isn't
right
it?
when it's not your dad, it's somebody else's
Yeah.
dad, and their undies coming down all pissed off.
We eventually got to the point at my house growing up that all my dad would have to do was stomp on the floor, like just.
Oh,
take,
gosh,
like,
yeah.
Yep, just like
Like,
put
you know
one
he's
leg
coming
out of bed.
downstairs.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I'll be like, "Shut up, everyone, shut up."
I know I just got done saying that my dad was mainly an even-keeled guy. Still is. But, there were times, and I know I've told this story before. Well, first, speaking of dads running out with their underwears on, one night my dad had enough of my twin brother, and this is, again, like we're late teens. My dad came out of the bedroom in his tiny little bikini briefs, which he never bought a big enough size, for Christ's sake. It looked like he was going to be in one of those bodybuilding competitions, you know what I mean? It was disgusting. Buy the right size underwear.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
There's nuts hanging out and whatnot.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
There was one night where my dad came out of the bedroom.
Hammock.
Yeah, the banana hammock.
The banana
6-8 inches of ass crack. Anything you wanted to see. It was like god dang biology example. What do you say? So he comes out of the bedroom and challenged my twin brother to a fight in his tighty. I can't call them tighty whities because I think they were like champagne colored or something. Well, that's not the word. It was like purplish.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
He wouldn't even get the white ones. He'd get like fancy colors. It made it even look. But there's a color I'm missing. I can't come up with it. But he comes out of his bedroom in those tiny underwear with the ass crack hanging and the heater in his yap, and he goes, "Come on, let's go!" I mean, he was so pissed off. "You think you're a tough guy pressing weights? Let's go, try me, come on!" I mean, I was in between the two of them.
Heck no.
Acting like Earl Hebner in the old WWF. But the other time that he flipped out, was, I know I've told this story before on the air, but as an over-the-road truck driver his whole life, what really got to him is when there was no work. There were times he was on call his whole life. There were times when the phone just wouldn't ring. Business was slow, and he'd just sit there for 3-4 days. And what I'll never forget, this is when he was a little older. I was probably 30 or something like that. I stopped by my folks' place. My sister was already there. And there's my dad sitting there, and I knew that he hadn't gone to work for a few days, and I knew it was driving him crazy. And I walked into, simultaneously, my mother and my sister are busting his balls. My mother's saying, "Put a new shirt on. That shirt is dirty and disgusting. You've been wearing it." And my sister's like, "Dad, you said you were going to help me with this or that." So they're both just bombing him. And the old man's just sitting there staring off into the distance with that 1,000-yard stare. And they're both, "You should have done this. Why don't you do that?" And the old man finally goes, "Come on, phone! Effing ring!" Somebody call me! Put me behind the wheel of an effing truck! Do it now!
Living on a farm, you can see for miles when you look out, your window on the farm. And I broke curfew one night, not intentionally, and I was getting home maybe 45 minutes late or so. And I got home, and my dad was standing outside. The underwear is making me think of this. Standing outside in his underwear when I pulled in the driveway and said, "Bring the keys in, and you're not going to need them for a while."
Oh, that was the worst.
And then when I got inside, he said, "You know why I'm why I'm grounding?" I was in 10th grade or something. "I'm grounding you from the car." And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm late." And he said, "Nope." He said, "How fast were you going down that gravel road on the way home?"
Oh, that's why you were upset.
You see the dust.
He was watching me come home and drive about 85 down that gravel road.
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
get home quick.
Did he wear underwear that fit?
No.
So your dad also looked like you were going to the world's worst Chippendale show?
Yep.
That's what the old man looked like.
It's so funny that you say that because my dad was the same way. I mean, he walked around in the white underwear, nothing else on, just the underwear.
Yeah.
hilarious.
In ninth grade, a buddy of mine, he grabbed his parents' car. He didn't have a license. None of us had a license. We took out his parents' car and got home late, and the dad found out about it, and he was just standing by the garage waiting for us to show up. My friend was so nervous, he drove through the back of the garage.
Oh, my gosh.
So we spent the first month of summer rebuilding a garage.
Remember,
and rolled out of that car.
Now, is that during a time, Josh, where there were no cell phones?
No cell phones, no.
Okay, so, I mean, that
I don't even think there were pagers yet.
Right. So that I remember, doing stupid stuff too. It was that anticipation of, something is, when you get home, they're going to be somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be standing out front. They're going to be standing by the garage because you have no idea because there's no way there was no communication. So it was just that anticipation in your gut when you're driving back. I'm sure Brad felt the same way because, there's no phone. You don't know if they're waiting or not, but you have a pretty good idea they are. So it's just like, I wonder where he's going to be standing when I come around the corner or whatever.
The whole time you're driving home.
Exactly.
You can't call and you can't text.
That's
back
right.
then. You're just hoping that they're sleeping. You're like, please let them be sleeping. Please let them be sleeping.
We thought we got away with it. We thought we were fine until we saw him. He's only about 5'6", but he's one of the most intimidating guys I've ever met.
Oh my!
So that was terrifying, seeing him stand out there with his arms crossed and everything.
Lucky to knock you right out.
Crazy.
You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Are you ready to beat the heat this summer? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is here to help you say goodbye to sweltering heat and hello to ultimate comfort. Ashley, what specials do they have going on this month?
Celebrate Christmas in July with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get huge savings with $1,776 off a new multi-head ductless system. Visit standardheating.com to discover all the goodies in Santa's bag.
Welcome to Talkville, the ultimate Smallville rewatch podcast. Well, let's get into season 4, episode 21, Forever.
Is there a button we can hit that just skip?
I know. What I'm surprised about, and I don't think there's anything he could have done, but James Marshall directed this, and he's directed so many great episodes.
It's collecting the paycheck. This would have been an epic episode if somehow it was Lex Luthor's high school experience at graduation.
Binge seasons 1 through 4 of Talkville before season 5 begins, wherever you listen.
You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks.
After our celebration, I went out to have a few drinks. On my way home, I was a little frustrated, upset, and I punched a wall. So that's how it happened.
Damn, that's a hell of a story. I can relate to that kid. I can. Randy Shaver is here. Hello, Randy.
Good morning.
Hello.
What do you know there, Hoss?
Hello.
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 I'm here. Hello.
Hello.
We can hear you. What, you can't hear us?
I think it's a bit.
I can hear you just fine.
Well, then why do you keep acting like you can't hear us?
Hello.
Okay.
It's wishful thinking.
What's your name?
And
Headaches.
you are?
Hello?
You give me headaches in the head,
Is this
Randy.
the neighbor?
The good neighbor?
Jungle Jane is here, too.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hey.
Jungle Jane's got a busy day today. Randy, I want you to remember something, Randy. You recently invited me to your neighborhood. I generally know where you live. Stop effing with me. Because I'll make a deuce in your mailbox and drive out of there.
Oh, but it's a community mailbox, so that affects everybody. Don't do that.
Keep
Nick.
that in mind, then. You don't want to be the guy that caused it. Ask Cubby. He's seen me do it before. Jungle Jane, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
She was telling me off air she got a busy day today.
It's huge. Yeah. Nick's like, what's going on, Janelle? And I said, here's how lame I am. A busy day for me is that I have the dentist and a haircut all in one day.
Hey, that does sound busy.
I mean, huge.
She's going to get her hair did.
Don't discount that.
Yeah,
that's too much for one day, to be honest. And
Yeah.
you're here?
That's like a 2-hour
And I'm here.
ordeal.
I know. Ashley, you relate.
Yeah.
It's an absolute undertaking.
Getting your hair done is a whole mission.
It is.
She's got a busy day, but yet she found the time to duck on in. We appreciate that. The intro there that Josh was playing. This is a hell of a deal. Not that we don't hear these kind of stories from time to time. Drinking can make some folks into animals. I've been there. Not like some of my buddies. I don't think I've reached some of those levels. But I can relate to this kid from the Milwaukee Brewers, Randy. The Brewers have had a terrific baseball season. But if they're going to make a run to the World Series, they might have to do it without... It looks almost certain they'll have to do it without this terrific relief pitcher by the name of Devin Williams. That's who you heard in the intro.
And he's really good, yeah.
He's outstanding. His numbers are great. Hell, he was the Rookie of the Year last year, I believe. Numbers are great. The guy, he fractured his hand punching a wall after the Brewers clinched the NL Central on Sunday. This was not in celebration. He told reporters he had a couple of glasses of hooch. Later that night, he got pissed about something, and then it happened.
It happens.
Had to be a girl.
That's probably a decent guess.
It always involves a girl when this happens, doesn't it?
Probably a decent guess.
Are you saying some men have punched walls over you, Janelle? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
God, no.
I hope so.
I think wars have been started.
I can believe that men have punched walls over it. You should see Janelle today. She's rocking a jean jacket.
Seriously.
Oh, look at you.
I mean, I was bringing my A game to 93X. What can I say?
Yeah, you'd think maybe he'd have he must have been really gooned. You think you have the presence of mind to use your non-pitching hand.
God dang it.
You know, if that's your bread and butter.
And I guess the story I saw yesterday, he didn't say anything to anybody. He goes to practice, and he just figured, F it, I'll try to throw with this hand. And immediately, he's in terrible pain. And then he goes and tells the GM and whatnot, hey, look, I flipped out the other night. I guess this is some kind of fracture. There is an outside chance if the Brewers make it to the World Series, he could pitch. But, dude, did anyone watch the video? Josh, did you watch the video of Devin sitting there with the GM of the Brewers talking about what happened?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did he not look like he wanted to dig a hole 1,000 miles deep and just fall into it?
Yeah, well, he went on to, apologize to his teammates. I'd imagine a few of them probably weren't too excited about, why that happened.
Hell of a deal.
Anyway. I mean, I guess good on him for being honest.
That's what I was just going to say.
And not blaming knuckle push-ups or something.
See, that's what you get when you got a PR guy that's a cut above Brad Ryder. You don't come up with knuckle push-ups, You guys have any good stories about? I mean, obviously, I don't want to hear any tragic. I punched my best friend in the face and we never spoke again. You had a few too many drinks, you flipped out, that kind of a story.
No,
plenty of those.
I'm an annoyingly loving drunk.
Mm-hmm. You are.
I've never been an angry drunk.
Ashley, you have plenty of those stories.
I guess. I mean, a handful. Yeah, people. I don't just randomly get mad. It starts somewhere. But I take it too far.
Is a woman involved? Oh yeah, you're the woman.
Yeah.
Have you put holes in the? Have you put holes in the walls?
Yeah, I put one. It's more of like a.
Was it Kevin shaped?
Yeah, I just push it through a wall.
Just like in the cartoons, the perfect silhouette of her husband going through a wall.
It's one of those things where you don't realize how strong you are, especially after you've had a couple.
Yeah.
Then you get this crazy drunk people strength. Yeah.
Was it a kick or a punch?
It was like a knee.
Whoa.
Yeah, that hurt for a while.
Yeah, you need the wall.
Then the next day you just feel like the biggest
idiot.
It's just a-hole in
Everybody's
the world.
been there.
Well, that's good, because there's people, there's people who would just be, I was drunk, what are you going to do?
Oh, no.
Not my fault.
No.
At least you didn't need a guy in the nuts or anything like that.
Yeah, at least I don't physically attack other people.
The one where I felt like the world's biggest jackass, this was St. Cloud State days, and every weekend somebody from my group of pals was going to jail for fighting. It was just a terrible thing. But that's what I remember. Dana, you said you never got in a fight at St. Cloud State.
No, not really, no.
That's crazy to me because that's all we effing did up there was drink ourselves sideways, fail with women, and fight.
Dana's more of a lover, though, so I could see him like sweet talking himself out of an altercation.
Yeah, if anything, if I see like fights about like I'm the peacemaker, I'm like, hey, guy, you don't want to do this. Don't ruin your night. Don't do that.
Let me ask you this then. You had told us a great story. You have a few great stories about television shows, and you were telling us one off air the other day. And I want to know if alcohol was involved. You should tell that story. You know what I'm talking about?
We were talking about Lost, the show Lost, the other day off the air. And we used to watch it in college. I think it was on like Thursday nights. We'd all get together. We'd all drink. We'd all watch it. And the show was all about cliffhangers. If you ever saw the show, it's just these massive, massive cliffhangers. And this one season ended, and my roommate was so pissed. He picks up his chair, and it had like metal like legs on the chair, and just whips it against the wall, and the thing just stuck in the wall. And we didn't get our damage deposit back because of the show Lost.
Was he drunk?
We were very drunk. The funniest thing is we'd have these big Lost watch parties on Thursdays, and then we go out to the bars because that was the big night in college, was Thursday nights, and we just get gooned. And then the next, well, at least my campus.
That's crazy.
And then the next morning, me and my roommates were like, what the hell happened on Lost again last night? We got to rewatch that. I don't remember what the hell happened.
Do you remember which one is the chair in the wall episode?
It was something about
like what? Just season
3 or 4. I want to say it ends with them blowing up a bomb that somehow like reset time. Or
I know. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Chair through a wall over an effing television show.
That's great.
What was like the vibe in the room after that went down?
Well, we were all just kind of stunned, and then Kevin Evers like we were all yelling, and then we realized like, oh, he threw the chair. Oh, it's stuck in the wall. Holy crap!
Do you have any pictures of that?
I don't think so, because this was like camera phones were a thing back then, but not the kind we have now. You know, where it takes like good pictures and uploads them immediately.
That's good.
Well, sports are people texting in on sports. They've definitely damaged things while watching a game.
Oh, yeah.
I love those.
You know the story about my buddy throwing a big stein of beer through the window. St. Cloud State Vikings playoff game, so it's December or January. Throws a big giant stein of beer through the window because Chris Carter dropped a pass from Sean Salisbury, right? And he acted as if he just sat back down. And we all said, what the hell's your problem? Friggin' Vikings. And we said, dude, you just broke a window. It's 10 below zero. Get off your ass. Go get some cardboard. Cover it up. But that's where I'm going with this, is if we weren't fighting on the sidewalks with other college guys, we were destroying the house. We were just young and stupid, couldn't keep our cool, and we drank too much.
This person says, can't find him while trying to hang something on the wall, but with my luck, I'd go to punch the sheetrock and hit a stud.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a friend do that. We were in a college basement and he's just punching holes in this crappy sheetrock. He's like, oh, let me try. And he winds up and just smacks the stud, broke his hand.
He broke his hand?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Oh, man.
There's one of those ones where he was drunk, but he knew immediately. He was just looking at it and he's like, ah.
So this thing's got so out of hand up there back in the day that I felt like I was going to do something about it, right? Like I was any more mature than the rest of them. So I don't know, we were pre-gaming it and having a few Steve Weisers before we went out to the bar. And I said, everyone going to jail and tearing doors off the walls, it's ridiculous. We got to stop this. So I said, I'm going to go buy a keg. It's on me. That's a big deal when you're 20, right? 21. I'm going to go get a keg. It's on me. No one has to pay me any money. I'll plant that sumbitch out in the garage, and we'll just stay here tonight, okay? No going out, because someone's going to go to jail. There were guys who had been to jail multiple times. If it happens one more time, they're going to... So I said, that's it. At least for tonight, let's behave ourselves. So I go get this keg. I put it in the garage. And we're waiting, for some more people to come over before we bust it out. And finally, somebody said, "Hey, go! Let's get that keg ready to go." Okay. I went out to the garage and it was gone. It had been stolen.
Oh, sad.
And so what do? I punch a window.
Natural reaction. Yep.
So an hour prior, I'm preaching to everyone about how we gotta calm down and keep our composure. Right? We gotta calm down.
Composure.
An hour later, I go, hell yeah, it's keg time. I open the door, it's gone. I realize it's stolen, and I go, son of a bitch, and I punch my arm through a window.
I love it.
You want to talk about feeling like a jackass? And my buddies are like, weren't you just saying an hour ago that we should...
Shut up.
You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks.
How many are here? 6 people? 6 people. How many of us think we've seen a ghost?
I do not believe I've ever seen a ghost.
No. Yeah, I don't think so.
You're not supposed to be able to see them, right?
I hear my house is it makes all kinds of weird noises, but I just assume it's because my house sucks and it's falling apart. And there's some fact behind that.
All right, I'm going to get back to ghosts here in just a minute. This is interesting. Talking about awkward movie watching experiences, television show watching experiences. We were specifically talking about our parents, but it can be awkward in different ways. Here's a listener who says, I watched the sex scene from Monsters Ball in between 2 strangers on an airplane.
Oh, my God.
And that is an aggressive-ass sex scene.
I've never seen that movie. Is that the serial killer one, or is that something different?
No, that's a Rudy John Perpovich. Billy Bob Thornton and Halle Berry just destroy each other's gear on the floor of a trailer house.
I get uncomfortable watching that by myself.
Oh, it's that graphic?
I mean, not that I watch it often, but when I did see the movie, I was sitting by myself, I'm like, this is uncomfortable.
I think we just found out Dana's go-to whack-off movie.
So disturbing.
All right. I didn't mean to get us off on a tangent then. Back to ghosts. 1,000 Americans were asked. 19% of them say they've seen a ghost.
When I've had sleep paralysis, one of the times I saw like a figure, but I don't know. Does that count? I think those are like supposed to be like demons or something.
A figure.
Well, if you think it's a ghost, yeah.
Did it say this? Did it say,
Ashley? I have a friend who's convinced there's a ghost in his house, but he hasn't seen it. But he's convinced.
Ashley, you're running late for work. Your friend's convinced he's got a ghost there, but hasn't seen it.
The whole family, they believe they've got a ghost there.
All right, here's a few
more.
more.
But one of the kids supposedly saw it.
I don't like that. Trust kids.
Yeah, the kids and the dogs always seem to have a connection, don't they? At least in the movies.
Yeah.
my girlfriend thinks that our place is haunted, or my cat can see dead people, because she'll be like looking at weird corners of the house and different parts of the room, and she's like, "Oh, that's a ghost."
Yeah, it's a stupid cat, is what it is. My cat will stare at a wall for hours just because he doesn't even know what he's looking at.
Or a bird. Then they get that.
What's that? I don't know what that is. I don't have a cat.
I know what it is, but it's too dorky to get into, I think, Wobble.
Yeah, way too dorky.
So 19% of Americans say they've seen a ghost. Here's a few more stats on things we've experienced but can't explain. Josh, you know what we experienced together?
What's that?
And we probably still can't explain if someone asked us? The Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster. We saw it together. I still can't explain it.
That may be uncomfortable for different reasons.
Most who've seen a ghost say it's happened multiple times. 9% say it's only happened once. Text us 68683. Start your stinking message with Nick, Josh, or Dana if you really honestly think you've seen a ghost, and tell us whatever you think we need to know. So most who have seen a ghost say it's happened multiple times. 9% say only once. There's a 50-50 chance you'll know the ghost that you encounter. All right, I can see how that would be cool. Yeah. Hey, Aunt Jen, you know. Or maybe it'd be a famous person. Hey, Mike Jackson. And I would say, dude, what happened, bro? What the hell happened?
Kind of went off the rails there, man.
Got a little out of control, dude. Okay, 50-50 chance you'll know the ghost.
Scene Clean Jesus says 100% have seen ghosts while in crime scene cleanups.
Oh, I don't like that.
Oh, I bet they have some stories.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's told us before.
Most of them are semen stories. They are.
Yeah.
This person says, my bedroom has a ghost in it. Both me and my girlfriend have seen him. I've also been walked through in the middle of the night.
You know, the ghost stories I hear the most, and if anyone's listening that went to school here, but I have had many friends who attended the Aveda Institute in Northeast Minneapolis in that old building.
My daughter went there.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, does she have any stories?
I'm not a very good parent.
No.
I don't. She might even not have gone there. I thought she said something about it once. No, she's never told me a story about that.
Apparently, it's really haunted, and a lot of people have stories about that. They won't go in certain areas of the building. Nobody wants to be there at night. I don't know if anyone listening has that, but please text in because I hear that all the time.
I'll text her real quick and ask. This person says, I was told I was haunted by ghosts when I was in 5th grade. She said I was surrounded by a ton of ghosts.
My girlfriend just said that she went to Aveda and it's 1,000% haunted, the top floor.
Really?
What about a little kid? What'd you say, Josh? A 5th grade kid, something?
Yeah, 5th grader. Somebody texted in and said when they were in 5th grade, someone told them that they were surrounded by ghosts.
It's not something
I guess that's kind of cool.
Is that a reference to that Bruce Willis movie?
I could be, I guess.
Oh. So there's a chance you'll know the ghost.
I was told I had like a ghost watching over me. And it's the ghost of, oh my gosh, Heath Ledger. By our former psychic lady.
Oh, God, with that psychic lady.
Heath Ledger?
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool.
There was a psychic?
We used to have a psychic on this show that would just piss me off to no end with her nonsense. But yeah, she used to always claim we had famous ghosts hanging around. She told Josh that the ghost of Heath Ledger was specifically watching over him.
Why are you so special you get Heath Ledger?
Don't come after me. You're acting like
Heath Ledger?
You're acting like I'm the one running around being this badass. She just said that. She was nuts.
Who, by the way, he was also in the movie Monsters Ball. Dana whacks off to it.
That's the part he whacks off to.
Yeah, exactly.
But, I was just joking around a minute ago about Mike Jackson's ghost, and I would like to meet Michael Jackson's ghost someday. That would be interesting. Hee. Shamo. This psychic lady used to always claim there were famous ghosts hanging around our studio. I think one of them she used to claim was Mike Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
And the other one was Elvis Presley.
Yep.
She couldn't go, like, mid-range famous singers, but apparently the two biggest artists of all time were hanging around our... Most ghosts are nice, according to people who have had encounters. Most of them are nice. 40% of people who've had encounters said they've been good, friendly. 7% said the ghost was evil.
Well, I don't want that, but I feel like I'm missing out. So many people are texting in saying they have seen ghosts. Or they currently live someplace with ghosts. HLFD Mexican Painter Jesus says no ghost, but bad car accidents and medical calls when someone dies, there is a presence there. Ask any medic or EMT.
Come on. Straight Pipe Jesus says he's got like 1,000 ghosts at all time. You got to know that old story. Thinking your house is haunted is common. 1 in 4 Americans think they've lived somewhere haunted. Maybe you've never seen a ghost, but you may have sensed one. Josh was just saying something about a presence. 37% of us say we've felt a presence afore.
That's a scary feeling. I've definitely felt that feeling at my house on Bayport because I swear that place was haunted. I always felt like I was never alone.
Who's there?
Freaked me out. I hated being alone in that house. Like I would never shower if I was the only one home. Just freaked me out.
29% of us have heard the voice of someone who wasn't there. 28% of us have felt an unexplained change in temperature. Isn't that the rumor that when it's really cold? Mm-hmm. Oh, I can relate to this. 30% have smelled an unexplained odor. Music they couldn't explain. Lights or other electronics have turned on and off on their own. Now, some of this I have experienced, and I can tell you about it after we take a break.
My TV just did that to me last night. It was weird. It would come on for a second, and then it went off. And then it would come on for a second, went off.
Objects that move on their own. A door open or close by itself. Like I said, I have experienced some of this. I'm not going to call it a ghost, but it certainly was weird.
We are now inside the house where the celebrity ghosts have been spotted. Whoa, what was that? What was that?
What was what?
Is there a spooky ghost here? What is this? What is this? There's a wetness coming from my pants. I see it. What is it? Oh God, I'm so scared. Look, it's got you too. Are you getting this? Make sure the camera is getting this. Definitely some paranormal activity. It's a warm, moist sensation that's moving down my left thigh. Look, it's starting to form a pool around the floor now. Are you getting this?
Are you guys serious?
Oh God, the paranormal activity is now leaving a trail of some kind behind both of us. Something hot and warm is coming out the back of my pants now. Oh, it smells!
Jesus Christ. Been talking about ghosts here on the Half-Assed Morning Show with our guest, Janelle Kleinsky.
Creepy stuff.
Some of you have some creepy stories. We asked the listeners to text us some stories. Before we get to that, Josh, did you notice it suddenly has become very, very cold in this studio?
It's freezing in here.
It's Heath Ledger.
Please let it be the ghost of Anna Nicole Smith. And she's had a few drinks. Please let it be. Some of you have some creepy ghost stories. We asked you to text in. What'd they send over your way, Cubby?
Okay. This one says, so I have an older brother who passed before I was born. But when my other older brother and I were playing in our parents' basement, we ran into him downstairs. We sprinted upstairs, and my mother said she saw him as well.
F me running.
We were talking about Nicole. Anna Nicole.
There she is.
Oh, she just said something about you, Nick.
What did she say?
She wants me to murder you so the two of you can be together.
Aww, so sweet.
Go ahead and do it, son.
I was working in the attic of a church in mid-June. It was a stagnant 115 degrees. But then I suddenly felt like I was standing in the middle of winter. And an overwhelming sense of sadness hit me to the point I had to leave the job and take a breather in my work truck.
Wow. An overwhelming sensation of sadness?
Yes. That's from Poop to My Pants, Jesus. My wife, before we met, she was in a dark place. And she used to see a shadow with red eyes. Thought nothing of it until her 4-year-old asked her what it was.
Oh, I just got the chills.
That's chilling. I used to have imaginary friends when I was a child that used to move things around the house. For example, one time there was a bowling ball that got pushed off a shelf. I was sleeping. There was an Ernie toy that kept going off even when we took the batteries out. One night outside, saw tall, dark figures moving slowly and quickly between some bushes. Also witnessed a semi-transparent little boy sitting on a Playmate yard slide. He was wearing a striped shirt and suspenders, waving at me and others.
Come play with us.
Some other things, some demonic voices on a baby monitor, voice rambling in my ear. Every time I try and explain this scene, I always come across as kooky. Ha-ha, they say.
Damn.
My mom texted and said she thinks she saw the ghost of her dad a year after he died.
Yeah,
I'm waiting to hear back about Aveda. Oh, wait, maybe I...
What was it about Aveda again?
Go ahead, Janelle.
Well, Wapple just was sharing something, right, Wapple?
Yeah, so my girlfriend said that a lot of people stay off the top floor. And she said that when you're on the top floor, you can kind of see stuff out of the corners of your eyes. You can hear a guy laughing, and some people even had their hair played with.
This is the Aveda Institute.
Yeah. Yep.
Just because you believe everything she says doesn't mean we're going to.
And you know how kids are so expressive, young people. I had texted my daughter.
Children, yes.
I asked if it's haunted, and she got back with this lengthy reply, yes.
Thank you for the elaboration.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
You know, we have to get off the air at 9. I wish you wouldn't have dragged that one out.
Yeah.
Well, we know we'll open the show with tomorrow.
Have the two of you been having communication problems?
No, it's about how it goes. I get back the same short response.
Thank you for texting in, everybody who had a little bit of a ghost experience. I'm reading things. Again, we said earlier, it always seems to be the children who are tuned into this kind of thing, and I got a couple of texts on that. A mother whose little boys would wake up laughing in the middle of the night, and they would go check on the boys and say, yeah, what are you two up to? And the little boys would say they were talking to the other little boy in the corner.
That would freak me out.
Yeah. One night I was lying in bed. I was awakened by a little figure walking through the room. It was Josh's mom getting up to take a pee.
Oh, God.
I work in a warehouse. Work in a warehouse by myself. He sees faces in the windows, and he hears his name getting called. When I was a little baby, my parents told me I would stare down a long hallway and laugh my ass off. And they didn't know. Here's a listener who says, I hope if I ever have a ghost in my home, it treats me like Ray from Ghostbusters.
Oh, sure.
But anyway.
It was only a couple years ago that I realized what was happening there. I didn't pick up on that.
As a BJ.
Yeah.
So I was telling you earlier that I do have some stories I can share on this topic. In the house that I grew up in, There was a door that would open and close on its own. When my sister was getting towards the end of high school, because she did the right thing. She moved out, I think, 20 minutes after she graduated high school. She got the hell out. So she lived in the basement. And once she left, I took her spot. And before I moved into the basement, she said, "It's weird down here. Weird things happen." And I was like, okay, I was 16 at the time. I'm a tough guy, right? I'm not. So what? I'll be fine. And she said, "Keep an eye on the storage room door. It opens and closes on its own." And it did. It did. I was fascinated by it. I had friends come over, and I'd say, okay. There was a couch right by this storage room door, and I'd tell my buddy, because he'd spend the night, drink a few beers, spend the night, lay on the couch, and I would shut that storage room door, and I'd say, "Now watch, when we wake up, it will be open." And we're the only two people in the house, and sure as hell it would happen. So I don't have any idea why or what the hell it was all about. I've always stopped short of calling it a ghost, but that door would open and close on its own. So I can relate to a little bit of this stuff. The lights would turn on and off now and again, but it was mostly that effing door. And this all started when we were talking about 1,000 Americans were asked about whether they've seen a ghost, and 19% say they have.
I would have thought it'd been higher.
Yeah, me too.
Scary stuff, huh, Janelle Klein?
I'll say.
Scary stuff.
So this buddy of mine I was telling you that is convinced this house is haunted. I thought, oh, that's kind of a creepy story. The kids see it, that kind of stuff. Until he told me its name was Greg, and that just kind of killed it. You know what I mean? Like, Greg's just come across as nice people to me. I'm not going to be scared of a Greg.
Yeah, right.
They seem like they're good folk.
It'd be totally different if the ghost said his name was Bartholomew or something.
Right.
Oh, my God, Bartholomew.
Damien.
You must be from the 1600s. Greg, what, you die in the late 80s? What's going on here?
Yeah, he just seemed like a good guy,
Yeah, did you ever ride a skateboard? Did you break dance, Greg? What did you do when you were alive?
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Are you ready to beat the heat this summer? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is here to help you say goodbye to sweltering heat and hello to ultimate comfort. Ashley, what specials do they have going on this month?
Celebrate Christmas in July with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get huge savings with $1,776 off a new multi-head ductless system. Visit standardheating.com to discover all the goodies in Santa's bag.
Former Navy SEAL Mike Ritland keeps it real on the Mike Drop podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Mitch Aguiar.
Rest is definitely important, and I think a lot of people overlook rest. I've definitely taken time off when I get injuries. If you're training while you're injured and you're not doing things correctly, I think it's better to just kind of sit out, heal. And I've done that several times where I've had to take time off, and then when I come back, people are like, "You got better."
Mike Drop, raw, unfiltered, intellectually sound, wherever you listen.
You're listening to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show, Backtracks.
Maybe you remember about a month ago or so, a story popped up in the Stupid News that discussed a company where the boss decided her employees deserved an extra 30-minute break every day to masturbate. The story was really kind of surprising. Until I learned that the company makes porn films.
And her name is Erica Lust.
Right. But anyway, the boss, Erica Lust, is back in the news to tell us that the 30-minute jack or Jill-off breaks are working for her and her employees and making them all better at their jobs.
30 minutes would be perfect. You could get the act done. Well, at least for me. I'll speak for myself. You could get the act done and have a nice little nap.
Nice 29-minute nap.
No doubt about it. Erica Lust. She's the head of Erica Lust Films. She's the boss. She even set up a masturbation station in the office for her staff to wail on themselves in.
Oh, I bet that's just filthy.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'd feel like somebody would be heading in there like, "Oh, Wessel's just in there?" No, I'm good, actually.
Well, here's my question. Do you have to go one at a time? I imagine since it's the porn world, you don't.
Yeah.
You just walk in, hey, Donnie, hey, Jenny.
I've been to a masturbation station going through fertility stuff, where it was basically a room where that's all it was for. And I had to wait when I was there the first time. They're like, all right, we'll have a room. They're all being occupied right now. We'll let you know when we get a room that opened up. I don't know the sanitation procedures in between. It didn't seem like there was very much.
Did you make eye contact with the guy that came out, before you? Like, who's using...
What do you mean came out?
Sorry. Who used the room before you did?
No, I didn't see him, luckily.
Okay. What? You should have shook his hand.
Hey, everything go good in there, pal?
What, did it look like a doctor's office in there?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know if I could do that.
Well, the first time, and I thought the same thing. But after a few times, it's like next to nothing. It's super easy, But
what do you mean? Why could you not do it if it looked like a doctor's office? I mean, you were single for 25 years. Couldn't you probably masturbate anywhere, anytime?
I don't know. It'd just be different in a doctor's office. Just those bright lights and just.
Well, I like the bright lights.
Nothing on the walls.
It's weird, Wapple. Like the first time I went in there, I didn't realize that's all they did there. It was It was in a hospital, and it was just part of it. I didn't know that that's the little masturbation station area. And I realized everyone's filling out the same green form, which I thought was weird. Like we all had the same form. And then I looked, and it's just a bunch of guys kind of staring straight down and then hugging the walls as they walked, and realized, oh my gosh, I'm in a masturbatorium or something. But Wapple, the room is... It's dimly lit.
Oh, I was going to ask that next.
Yes, there's a recliner, and there is a little table lamp. They have, on the wall, you can control some music, to drown out any noises.
Set the mood a little bit.
They have some porn mags from the late 1980s, early 1990s. And I was talking about this off the air. Our former coworker Ross went through some fertility stuff, too, and we realized we masturbated in the exact same room.
That's right.
Oh, no.
What a connection that is.
Different times.
It's like a different kind of Eskimo Brothers.
Yeah.
Boy, I bet he made a mess, too. I mean, I bet he tore the place to shreds just because he was such a big, dumb animal.
And he wouldn't clean it up after himself.
Yeah, I bet when he left, the chair was overturned.
Yeah.
He had his own movies saved.
The magazines were, the pages were shredded. I mean, I could just see him just, bah! Just turning it into some kind of a one-man, one-hand frat party.
But when everyone outside, and there's people in looking like doctors and stuff, and everybody's out there and they know exactly what's going on, that is difficult.
I bet. Yeah.
I bet you when Josh
but then you become
left,
good at it.
You became very good at it.
Yeah,
I'm sure you did. I mean, I bet you when Josh left, the place looked cleaner than when he came in.
Pretty much.
That's true too.
As opposed to that, I don't like to say his name out loud. The dude that quit on us.
Well, he retired.
I bet pictures had been torn from the wall. The window was shattered.
Now, here's the thing, Wapple. That particular place had the little hidden door, inside the room. You open your side, put it in there, and then they open their side, right?
Yep.
There was another place where you had to bring it with you and hand it to someone when you walked out.
That's uncomfortable.
You got to hand it off to someone.
That was one of the more humiliating, because then you're thinking, am I being judged for what I've created?
Okay.
You
were worried about whether your amount was being judged.
Right.
Here's the semen, sir.
One semen, please.
Were these rooms soundproof?
I don't think so. But, I mean, I'm going to say no because I could hear what was going on outside.
I mean, it's not like any dudes are going to be in there going, oh.
Well, you know what I mean?
Might.
You've told us before that you are a loud orgasmer.
In that situation, I think I could probably control myself. Wouldn't that be something if a dude just went, ah!
Owie! Ouch! It hurts!
Oh, boy, this is going to be a good one. It's time to let the cat out of the bag. The long orgasm guy we've been playing on this radio station for years is me.
Oh, yuck.
It's me. Yuck.
I had to record it.
I had to help him get there.
Wapple was there holding a microphone. Josh was holding something else.
Microphone shaped.
Wapple
was looking at his watch at this point like, are you serious?
Can't
One
you kind of
semen,
tell?
Please.
You can kind of tell. once I let folks in on that. I think it'd be great if when you are entering the masturbation station, Josh, over there at that clinic, and a dude is leaving, I think it would be great if he had to tag you in.
You do like a Jeep wave or something.
Just like in wrestling, just quick hand tag, you're up, son.
Well, like sometimes in basketball, when a player comes off the bench to sub in, like they bring a towel and they hand it to the guy that they're subbing in for.
Yeah.
Maybe like nice little towel pass.
Oh,
Gatorade.
Great and Bad Guy had a similar experience. He said, same deal. First time, could barely do it. Second, third time, had it down.
Mm-hmm. I got listeners texted in saying their neighborhood fertility clinic is very comfortable. They rated it a 5 out of 5. So that's nice that you can go there and eventually get comfortable. Maybe some of you are comfortable right away. It wouldn't need to be anything special for me. I could rip one out damn near anywhere.
I don't know if it'd be as easy as you think in that situation.
Really? All right. I guess I don't know. I've never been in one of those joints.
Are you only allowed to use it if you're trying, fertility issues, or if you just, you're passing by and you got some time to kill? Can you just pop on in?
The first 5 times it had nothing to do with fertility issues. I just saw a sign
in the neighborhood.
You walk in there, Josh.
Listener texted in and said, "Rest in peace, Ross. May he eat all the Pop-Tarts in the sky." How long has he been gone now? A little over a year?
Yeah, wow. Right before the lockdowns and the world ended.
Oh, yeah, because he caused it all. I remember that.
It was like maybe 2 days before all that happened. It was Friday the 13th last year. March 13th.
Man.
I think that was a Friday the 13th.
So we were talking about this porn company who lets folks take a 30-minute break every day, go to a masturbation station, and have an orgasm. And the boss over there, Erica Lust, said last year has been hard on everyone.
Stop. Nice.
And that was kind of the reason why they did this. You're not obligated to take your 30-minute masturbation break. You're not. As an employee of Erica Lust Films, you can say, no, that's fine. I'll just continue to work. But if you want to, and you don't necessarily have to masturbate. God knows what's going on in their break room at a porn company.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But what a hell of a deal. She's one of those people who goes this way. I would recommend people to take time to masturbate. I get a kick out of these people who are like, you know what you should do? You should have sex. Oh, God, I never thought of that. You know what you should do? You should masturbate. Yeah, we know. Let it go. For Pete's sake. There you go. Masturbating at work.
Well, she said it's been better.
Yeah, people are happy. I'm happy for them. Josh,
I've never felt the need to masturbate at work.
No, but you've noticed here a couple times at 93X that there are folks who don't need the boss's permission to beat off at work.
No. Unfortunately, I've
so crazy.
It is.
Caught 2 separate people doing that here, and
it is that's
I think we probably have an anti-masturbation at work policy, I would imagine.
Sure, it's in the fine print.
And if, in fact, you haven't heard these stories, and we're not talking about someone ducking into the bathroom. That's a totally different animal.
No, these are in the studios.
Yeah. If you, for whatever reason, you have the itch like there's no tomorrow, and you have to go into the ladies' or the men's room and blast one loose, okay. We're talking about folks just in a common area. That's like a sick person, if you ask me.
Dana, you see where Wapple is right now?
Yeah.
That's the spot.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
you know what?
The chairs.
And one of the dudes that you caught doing this, I ran into him a few years ago. And I just wanted to, of course, I'm not going to, it was a party scene. I didn't want to embarrass the guy, but I badly wanted to say, what the hell's the matter with you?
I didn't tell anyone for years.
Did he try to give you a high five?
No.
He didn't know Cubby was standing there.
He didn't know because I was walking into where the studio Dana's at right now. and that light was off, but the light was on in your studio, Wobble. So, you can't really see in there.
Mm-hmm.
But so I see some motion out of the, my peripheral vision, and I kind of realize, I think somebody's watching porno. And then I looked over, and he was doing what he was doing. So I just dropped down beneath the window there. An army crawled out. I was so embarrassed.
I can't even fathom walking in on something like that. Like all of the jobs I've had, it's just crazy to me that this happens here.
That's the third time I've caught a grown man masturbating in my life.
That's not right.
It's not like I'm walking into masturbatoriums or anything.
Right.
These are places that a person should reasonably expect not to catch a guy masturbating.
Right.
It's going to be a great day at work.
These are some sick puppies.
Now, I've only really worked in radio in my adult life. This has to be radio specific. I can't imagine there's too many industries in which one person could catch multiple of their coworkers.
I would say you're probably right, Dana. I never caught anyone touching themselves at the warehouse. While we were driving forklifts, no one thought, well, I'm just going to rub one out here as I'm loading this truck with... Here's a listener who said, post-vasectomy, they've texted in, they say, post-vasectomy, I had to give a sample. The desk lady, the front desk lady at this masturbatorium, grabbed a box for me to put my sperm sample in. She handed me a semen box. I acknowledged the joke. She was not amused.
What? How do you not be amused by that? Well, maybe she's heard it a million times.
Yeah.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor.
Celebrate Christmas in July with Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. Get huge savings with $1,776 off a new multi-head ductless system. Visit standardheating.com to discover all the goodies in Santa's bag.